Interest rate rises are driving Aussies to food banks. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from the ABC. It's discussing interest rate pressures on homeowners are driving them to food donations, and it's from Adelaide. Now, we hear about this in Adelaide all the time, well, in recent articles, and it was when their power bills come in, because Adelaide is a hippie renewable state that's put all this money into wind farms and batteries, so their power's insanely expensive. So when power bills come in, people go to food banks. Isn't it awesome, guys? It won't be easy under Albanese future, guys. So, homeowners facing cost of living stress from higher interest rates and other inflationary pressures are becoming a new group of people seeking out donated food in Adelaide, a charity and welfare group says. The Reserve Bank has increased interest rates 7 times this year, and Adelaide house prices have continued to increase despite the national downward trend. And that's because Adelaide is, well, it's a bit behind the other states, and their housing is certainly much more affordable when you compare it to property in Sydney and Melbourne, even Brisbane. I think it's in line with Brisbane now. Energy and grocery costs are also continuing to rise. Paddle Jumpers, a charity which donates food and other goods to families in need, is now only allowing people to take one pantry item at a time, although fruit, vegetables and bakery items are still more readily available. The organisation posted on Facebook that it had noticed people accessing its services for the first time. There's been close to 600 people through the doors over a few days, and we've had people who had tears as they were so grateful for receiving help, the organisation wrote on social media. Mandy Norris, who lives in Prospect with her 2 sons, uses the support of Puddle Jumpers on a regular basis. She says she was just grateful they can help. We've found them really helpful when we're struggling week to week to buy food and feed the kids. They've been amazing, she said. But Ms. Norris, who relies on housing support from Housing SA, has noticed the reduction in the availability of pantry items and attributed it to increased demand driven by cost of living pressures. People are crying out for free food and meals, she says. I've lost my job. I broke my foot, so I've had no work. So we're kind of struggling. It's just me and my 2 boys who live here, and I'm supporting them on my own. There are a lot of homeless people too, because you can't find rentals. They're too expensive, so there's big demand these days for sure. Puddle Jumpers Chief Executive Melina Tate said the organisation was facing unprecedented demand for its services, with the number of people picking up food each week in the western suburbs jumping from 150 to 600. We're seeing these massive demands in people needing food relief and people that have never asked for it before, she said, as well as things are a bit lighter on the donation side for things like schools or workplaces or even food industry places that are donating to us. She said it could be embarrassing for people to ask for help for the first time, and she urged people not to be judgmental. There are families that have never had to ask for it before, and my experience is they actually feel quite embarrassed to ask for help, she said. Well, that's understandable. Now, my one problem with this is look at the stuff. Look at the food that they're giving. TV snacks. It's all processed carbohydrate rubbish. It's going to spike your insulin. It's going to make you even more hungry. You're not going to be satiated. Is it worth it? Is it worth eating this stuff or saving your money, going a few days without food and getting butter and meat? That's the problem. It's because people don't know that they can go without food for a few days. They've probably never experienced it in this country. Being hungry for the first time in their life could be terrifying to some of them. You might be struggling to make ends meet, and you want to hold on to your home, and might sell, and selling it might lose money anyway. Yeah, this is the thing. My advice, the whole Stoic approach: expose yourself to some of these challenges in a controlled way, so you're not overcome by fear. What's the longest you've gone without food? Let us know in the chat, guys. I think my record is 7 days. I did that as a fast. I did it for health reasons. But it also, psychologically, it's good. It means you know what you can do. Now, coffee, on the other hand, yeah, that'd be a disaster. So, all the people might have a luxury car. Well, they might have inherited that car, or they might have it on a payment plan. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. You see, remember when we had the lockdowns and people in these nice bloody SUVs all lining up to get their handout food? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of stupid that they're getting to that point. You know, or they might have been given that. So selling the car is going to actually be detrimental to that family versus keeping the car. Yeah, you can't get rid of a car. I mean, we did a period when we were doing it real tough. We were just catching public transport with 5 kids. It's not fun, but I mean, the kids, it's not cheap either. It's not cheap. It's taking 5 kids and 2 adults into the city because we'd go to South Brisbane for church. It's cheaper for us to drive. Particularly on the weekend, even if you count in parking. Anyway. But then they might need a little help with everyday essentials like food items to get them through this real tough period. Rental prices have increased significantly across South Australia over the past 2 years, leading many people to get into the housing market to secure accommodation. South Australian Council of Social Services Chief Executive Ross Womelsey said the interest rate increases were adding up for these people, and a range of organisations were facing the same issues as puddle jumpers. Oh boy. So are these the people who didn't have enough savings, who probably got in under some stupid scheme that the government put out there to help housing affordability, and now they're getting screwed over because they can't handle the interest rate increases, which the RBA said wouldn't happen. So in a way, it's similar to the US, where they, in the GFC, they were giving everyone with a pulse a house, and some people just couldn't afford it. We know that there's a group of people who have been enticed to take on mortgages in an effort to access housing, and in the process may have hocked themselves to the nines, only to be in purchasing and paying for their mortgage, their house, but also paying for many of the items in their household, he said. Those people are now getting squeezed, and as interest rates increase, not just from mortgage rate increases, but also from increases in other debt services like bank cards, and things that will have much higher interest rates applying to them. Puddle Jumpers has recently tried to open new distribution centres in Adelaide's southern suburbs, but council approvals have been delayed because of the coming elections. Well, there you go, guys. So, I mean, let's have a talk about this. I mean, what can you say? What can you say? You need to increase your income. You need to sell all the shit you don't need. You need to find ways to make ends meet. That's what you got to do. That's the tough reality out there. Look at the Stoic approach. Learn to do without. You'll be amazed what is a luxury and what isn't. But I don't think some people are ready for that. I think Australians have had it really good for so long. I think the idea of skipping a meal is something that some people are going to have to get accustomed to. And maybe do it to save a bit of money and keep their home. What do you think? Do you think Australians have it in them? Let me know your take on that one in the comments below, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Check out my other channels, HeiseBim, HeiseSays International. And if you want to support us, there are many ways you can. Financially, via referral links, merch, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, guys. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.